Well, good morning or afternoon or whatever time you're watching this. Here I am with my cup of coffee, ready to start today's art activity. And unlike yesterday when I hadn't got a single idea till well into the afternoon, I know what I'm going to do. I've given it a bit of thought, so I'm just going to get started on thinking about tree trunks and the rings round them, representing the different eras of our life. So grab a coffee, grab your art things, and let's get cracking. So sit comfortably with your back straight and relaxed. If you can, put your feet flat on the floor and your hands just resting in your lap. And become aware of yourself, your body, your breathing. Close your eyes is possibly best, but you don't have to. You could just look at the picture on the screen. Listen to the sounds around you, maybe the ticking of a clock, children playing in another room. Be aware that they are there, and then bring yourself back to you, where you are. Notice your body and your breathing. Breathe normally. Be aware of each breath going in and going out. Notice anything that comes to mind as a distraction. Acknowledge it and let it go, and return your attention to your breathing. And as you settle into being aware of yourself in the current present moment, park any other thoughts that come to mind about the past or the future and concentrate on now. I'm going to lead you through a way of breathing a little deeper. Breathe in to the count of 5 and then out to the count of 7. And if that's too long, then as long as you're breathing out for a little bit longer than breathing in, that calms you down. So take a breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And continue in that breathing pattern that you've established now. Whether you've kept up with me or not doesn't matter. Just take 10 of these breaths in and out. And any distractions, just acknowledge them and then return your attention to your breathing. And this technique is useful at any time to calm yourself down. And when you're ready, carry on and meet me with the next bit of the recording, which will be the art activity. Right, this is the activity that I thought we'd do today, and it's making tree rings of your life. And this activity, it says a ring for each year of your life and include important events. And I think this was designed for a teenager, because if I did one for every single year of my life, I would need an enormous piece of paper. So when I thought about it this morning, I thought, well, I'm 63, so why not go for each decade? And then I thought, well, some decades an awful lot happened. So I'm going to do rings for every 5 years of my life. And I've already measured out carefully, because obviously you've got a definite size piece of paper, and I didn't want to run out of paper. So I found this more or less the center of the paper, did a ring, and then I measured it and worked out that if that was 90 centimeters or 9 centimeters, 90 millimeters. So that's 90 millimeters. And so I divided that by the number of 5-year periods in my life, which is 13. Divide that and you ended up with 6 point something. So I just did dots every 7 millimeters apart as a guideline. Now, of course, the thing with trees is that they're not perfectly circular, are they? So it doesn't matter if our lines go a bit wonky, because trees are wonky. And in fact, the most attractive trees in my eyes are those that have got weather and storm damage. You know, the ones that aren't perfectly symmetrical, but have obviously had some damage. They're the more attractive trees, in my opinion. And as rings of a tree are there with each year of growth, they show scientists and those that know these things what was going on in that tree in that year. You know, whether there was a drought or if it was a good year for weather or whatever. And I suppose it's the same when we view our lives. Some years are better than others, aren't they? And you can see that this tree is not exactly circular. I'm actually following the contours of the page. So with my best intentions of wanting it to be circular and fitting, I think we're going to have to be a bit squashed in at the edges. Now, isn't that life? That's natural, that things are not always as we plan. And that's the beauty of life, that life happens not always as anticipated. So that's my basic, and I shall go over that with a dark pen so that you've got your outline. Well, I'll see how that works. I may or may not go over it with dark, because when I do it and consider my life, I'm going to obviously want colour in there, but I'll see how that goes for making a handout for you to colour in and do your own. So I'm going to stop the film. Right, so I thought for a change I would use oil pastels. There we go, that's what I'm going to use. I haven't used these for absolutely ages. Can't really remember how they behave, but I thought I'd give them a go. So, a tree representing the years of my life. So, pale ochre is the colour that is supposed to be. So I was born in 1957 in the back bedroom in a road in Epsom. Stanton in Epsom, and I suppose that's the first one. So the first 5 years of my life, if you think about each of those being 5 years, I don't have many memories of them. I remember the boy at the end of the road had big sunflowers in his garden. I remember my best friend was called Pearl, and that's probably about it. But I do remember that the incident of the yellow dress. There was a yellow dress incident at some point. I'm not sure how old I was, but it was a hand-me-down from my cousin who had been a bridesmaid, and I've never been a bridesmaid. And I went and played out in it and got told off for getting it dirty. So there we go. That scarred me almost for life. Then the next 5 years, between the age of 5 and 10, we moved. We moved up to the Midlands when I was 7, moved to Burton-on-Trent when I was 7. And so I immediately changed my southern accent to a Midlands accent within 2 weeks. My nan always used to complain she couldn't understand a word of what I said. That's tough, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened else. I think I learnt to swim in that era, up to 1964. Yeah, I think swimming came in to my life. Learnt at Butlins, would you believe, while we were on holiday. So I learnt to swim. So moving house, settling in, getting into a new community in that first 10 years. Then life gets a bit interesting. In the next 5 years, between the age of 10 and 15. Well, what happened between the ages of 10 and 15? Well, first of all, I failed the 11 plus. So I went to the secondary modern, where my brother went to the grammar school. And actually, the uniform there was navy blue. So let's change that to a darker blue. Navy blue uniform, secondary modern school. But you had a different tie according to what house you were in. And I was in Peveril. They're all named after castles. And so I had a red tie to wear. So let's put a red tie in there. A bit of red. What else happened? I was confirmed at the age of 12. So I became an Anglican. I, at the age of 13, went to my first disco, had my first kiss, not on the same night, and my first cigarette, which was on that first night of that disco. And yeah. After I finished the filming, I went over some of the colours again, just to give a bit more richness to them, and then tried doing the outline of the rings, and that didn't work so well. Even the wax crayon thing didn't seem to want to work very well, and as for any sort of felt tip, forget it. So, because I was going to put the years on the rings, but I couldn't find a way of doing that. So there you go. If any artists watch this, perhaps you could pop in the comments what I might be able to use if I should do something like this again, to write over the top of wax pastels, oil pastels. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy doing your tree rings of life.